You know how you can just look at a picture of someone and just say that this person is a straight up creep? Well, this definitely applies to Paul Alexander. And shout out to Seiji Hito because he did a very good video talking about this guy. And let me tell you, this guy is a piece of work as well as a piece of shit in every sense of the word. I've heard some trafficking stories before, but this one right here is really, really wild. And you notice that a lot of people who are caught up in these trafficking rings, as far as those who work the outer rim of the ring, I should say, and within, are very wealthy PC males for the most part. This guy is one of them, one of several, might I add. So this guy's name is Paul Alexander. He is the CEO of a private jet company, so you already know he has amassed a lot of wealth. But he is also a guy who engages the sex trafficking of young children, specifically between the ages of like preteen to just a couple years older, basically in those development stages. But it just gets worse and worse as the story goes on, but I'm gonna get into it right now. The CEO of a private jet company has been charged with multiple counts of sex trafficking minors after a months-long investigation by the NYPD and the New York Attorney General's office. Paul Alexander, age 57, and that's a struggling 57, who is already a registered sex offender, was arrested on Thursday for allegedly sex trafficking children throughout New York City, the AG's office announced. Listen to that. He's already a registered sex offender, so he's engaged in this activity before. But because he has money, he has wealth, it gives him power, status, and influence, he's able to not be in jail right now while still retaining him being a sex offender. That was the only thing his wealth wasn't going to allow him to slip through. So he still has that attached to his record. The investigation claims it used undercover agents, covert recording devices, and social media to catch Alexander as he charged an undercover police officer with $300 for sex with a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old child. Alexander, who lists himself as CEO of Central Jet Charter, a private aircraft charter company, also allegedly advised the undercover cop that they should use marijuana and alcohol to make the victims more cooperative. According to his record on the New York Sex Offender Registry, Alexander has previously been convicted of first-degree sexual abuse and possession of child pornography. And I'm going to show y'all probably toward the end of the commentary his arrest record. And it's like this guy had a mugshot for every other year. The investigation into Alexander, named Operation Mile High due to his profession, was first launched in March after he was reported to the NYPD by a female minor, according to a statement from the AG's office. The girl alleged that Alexander sexually abused her and other underage girls and promoted them for prostitution to other men. Alexander's arrest marks the first time that the city's AG, Letitia James, has charged a defendant with a newly enacted crime of sex trafficking of a child. The new crime was introduced to strengthen prosecutors' ability to hold sex traffickers accountable, James' office said. There is nothing more reprehensible than sexually exploiting a child, James said in a statement. This individual alleged actions jeopardized the health and safety of our children and highlighted the critical need for these new protections that strengthen our ability to hold perpetrators accountable for these gross violations of the law. I thank the NYPD for their partnership in this investigation and will continue to use all the tools at my office disposal to hold accountable those who seek to abuse our children, she added. There were no further details released on Alexander's number of potential victims for how long he had ran the operation. However, the investigative team did determine that he was trafficking children across county lines. The NYPD and our law enforcement partners share a commitment to protect the survivors of child trafficking, and we will continue to fight on behalf of our society's most vulnerable individuals, NYPD Police Commissioner Dermot Shea said. I thank and commend the NYPD detectives involved in this investigation in the New York State Office of the Attorney General's office. In the New York State Office of the Attorney General for their efforts to ensure child predators are taken off of our streets. The NYPD will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to eradicate the trafficking of children in our city and work to bring justice to victims of these heinous crimes. Alexander was arraigned in Bronx County Criminal Court on Saturday and charged with sex trafficking of a child, attempted sex trafficking of a child, related counts of first and second degrees of promoting prostitution, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. He faces up to 50 years in prison if convicted on the top charges. James said that Alexander is a level 3 sex offender. He has been registered on the New York State Sex Offender Registry website for 20 years. So he's been on that list since 2000. 20 years is a long time, and he's still engaging in this activity because he doesn't care. He's addicted. Like that. This is what he loves to do, and he masks it. He disguises it, and trying to cover it by him being the CEO of this company. But like I said, money, wealth, power, influence, that allows him to get away with all of this stuff. That's why he continues to do it. And they said up to 50 years. No, he needs longer than that. He needs life, in my honest opinion. He has prior convictions for first-degree sexual abuse along with a separate conviction for possessing child pornography, according to Heavy. His record on the New York Sex Offenders Registry reveals that in 1990, he was found guilty of sexual abuse after overpowering and choking his female victim. He was convicted in 1996 and received a state prison sentence of 2 to 4 years. And in 2003, he was convicted for possessing an obscene sexual performance by a child less than 16 years old. The victim was described as a non-stranger. He received 18 months and 3 years behind bars, but was released on parole by December 2004. Now, before I actually show you his record or his rap sheet, I was looking to see if they would have mentioned this in the article, but they didn't. But Seiji Hito had mentioned some things in his video that I'm going to say here that was not mentioned in the article. And it's actually 2 main things. One, they said that his neighbors, they knew he was engaged in this kind of activity and they never said anything. So they should definitely be held responsible as well, because they could have ended this long before it continued to fester on and continue, but they decided not to. Number 2, and this is probably the main one, according to some even more research that Seiji Hito did, it turns out that many of these girls that were trafficked that this guy was doing this to apparently were black girls. Even gave them, names, called them ghetto and everything. Like the minute I hear the word ghetto, that immediately lets me know who they're, who's the target audience, or who's the one being talked about, I should say. So that's 2 things that he mentioned in his video. And I'll leave the link to his video about this and you can hear it for yourself unless you've already heard it, but I'll still leave the link anyway. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go and show you just look at how much of a creep he looks. Look at that haircut. That's a creep haircut. That's one mugshot right there. I'm not sure when it was taken. Oh, I see it right here. Date August 23rd, 2003. This was him in 2003. Now that's 2003. Look at how creepy he looked even then. This is the one I wanted you to see. There's the Vision of Criminal Justices. These are all his mug shots right here. There's his name, Alexander, last name Paul, date of birth July was it 15, 1963, male for sex, risk level 3, like they mentioned before, race white, ethnicity non-Hispanic, he's 5'10", black hair, brown eyes. Photo date November 30th, 2020. This is the most recent one, is the one you already seen. But these are all of his other mugshots over the years. This one you just saw. This one I think was since 2010. It's kind of grainy and everything like that. But this guy has multiple mugshots, and all of them, for the most part, all lead back to the same thing of him being a straight up trashy creep. They are basically, like I said, they're all literally for the same thing. He never veered from the script. He never did any other crime as far as we know. All of them led to some kind of obscene sexual crime. It started off with women who were legally, of age, over the age of 18, and then it slowly veered into minors, and that's kind of where he stayed at for the rest of his violent career. But look at all these mugshots. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 mugshots. And they said his crimes go back to 1990. But they were more repetitive, more so in the late 90s and 2000s. So this guy just is a career criminal. But look, he was able to escape all these times. Look at all these times he was able to get out. And still be able to be the CEO of a private jet company, amass wealth, and still continue to do what he was doing. Basically, it's almost like he's operating like a low-tiered Jeffrey Epstein, if you want to be technical. He's like an off-brand, low-budget, no-name Jeffrey Epstein. But again, the us versus them of America is at play once again. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this story down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.